Rick, what prompted you to run for this position?
Well, I've been a longtime teacher and coach here in Gering. I've seen a lot of changes, especially in the last few years. I don't believe that, without pointing fingers, that Gering schools are moving forward as they should. I think there's been some decisions that have adversely affected progress, and I think maybe I can give some insight from the inside.
Thank you. Rick, what is your philosophy when it comes to parental involvement in the development of curricula and other issues affecting their child's education?
It is necessary. I think a lot of the parents are also community leaders and business owners, and I think those are the careers that many of our students pursue. So I think they should have a say in the curricula that we teach and how we teach it and what they need to know.
Thank you. Rick, the Career Academy has branched into a number of different educational areas. What other career pathways would you like to see developed?
I'm not sure that I'd like to see too many more developed. Some of our classes have pretty small numbers in them now. I think I would like to see the vocational classes become stronger as they once were. I think most of our students end up in a vocational situation or career field more and more. That's who builds your houses, fixes your cars, and that sort of thing. As far as any others that could be developed, I think we could just expand on what we have. For example, in the construction field, we could add some plumbing or electricity, that sort of thing. I think those are the things that we need to add in our pathways.
Okay, we'll move on to our next question. Rick, we'll start with you on this one. Gering Public Schools has partnered with Scottsbluff Schools in a number of areas, some extracurricular activities, like notably the swim team. How much farther should collaboration go, and would you ever consider an instance to consolidate the districts?
As far as the collaboration between Scottsbluff and Gering, I think it depends on what subject and what area we're talking about. I don't agree that there should be a consolidation. I think kids staying in the schools that they're in now gives them more of a chance to pursue a career path rather than get lost in the numbers that it would cause. I also feel there's a lot of things that the collaboration unnecessarily breeds, as far as kids being convinced to go from one school to another because of certain activities or events. That's pretty much how I feel about that.
Thank you. The district has had to secure a line of credit with a local financial institution to protect district cash flows. What do you believe the district needs to do to stabilize funding, especially when state aid fluctuates year to year?
Well, I have served on a school board before, like from 92 to 2000 in a smaller district, and I know a lot of things have changed since then, but I do understand a little bit about it. I know state aid is huge and depends on the numbers of students that you have in the school, and I know it fluctuates a lot even with that. I think one of the things we can do, we can be smarter with the classes that we offer. We do want to do everything we can for the students and give them all the options that we can, but always at the heart of the matter is finances. And when we have a physics teacher with one student in a class for a semester or two students, which is the case this year, I think we're not being very wise with the way we're using our money or our resources.
Rick, what do you believe the board's stance should be when it comes to the proper age to begin sex education, and when should controversial subjects of gender identity and fluidity be introduced?
Well, because of my age and experience, I have quite a conservative view on these issues. As far as the age for sex education, I think when they're talking about survival of the species, that's when you should be talking about that. And as far as the other issues, I think the parental involvement that others have mentioned should come into play. I know it's an ever-changing society, but I think the line needs drawn somewhere.
Thank you. Rick, should the grading scale be that rigorous, or should it conform more closely to post-secondary grade scales?
Well, first of all, I think in the final synopsis of a person's career, it doesn't matter whether they got an A or a B. It's a matter about work ethic and other things that can be taught in the schools. I do think it should say rigorous. When a person or student approaches a 70%, they're approaching failing in either situation. And in some classes, that's only one paper away or one assignment away. I don't think it will help us to use a soft hand when it comes to this. I think being soft and taking the pressure off has led to some of the issues that we are facing now.
Thank you. Rick, if you're elected at the end of a 4-year term, how would you define success?
First of all, I think administrative continuity. We've had 3 superintendents in the last 4 years, I believe. We've had turnover in principals. And I would also like to see that continuity include gearing people in those places. We've had our opportunity for those people, and we haven't been able to do that. I think that would get gearing back on the track that most people want to see us on. I'd like to see us back on the block schedule. I think that would eliminate the scheduling conflicts that we have for some classes that are on block and some that aren't on block, and then still equalize the opportunities and still offer the opportunities that we have to students. And I'd like to see us on athletic equality with those across the river in all activities.
Thank you. Okay, we will give each of you 1 minute for closing statements. Thank you. Rick, 1 minute for a closing statement.
Okay. I believe I stand for transparency and honesty. Being a coach for several years in different sports has also given me a firsthand view of the direction and guidance that kids need to mature into young adults as a positive, contributing member of society. I'm freshly retired after 18 and a half years of service for Gehring Schools, and because of this, I feel I have an insight, a unique insight, that sees strengths and weaknesses of our school. I also feel I have an obligation to represent what the faculty actually requires to do the job they've been hired to do. This includes the collaboration and necessary training without time-consuming agendas that satisfy job justification. I feel I also have an obligation to represent the student body in making sure they receive a quality education that prepares them for a chosen career while having a positive experience.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of our candidates running for Gehring Public Schools Board of Education for participating in tonight's forum. Greg, Brian, John, Krista, Rick, Mike, Gloria, Brandon, Colleen, thank you all for being here. We hope you at home, this helps you in deciding who you wish to vote for. As a reminder, in the May 10th primary election, you'll be allowed to vote for 3 candidates. The top 6 vote getters in the primary election will advance to the November general election. This candidates forum is one of several being presented by the Government Affairs Committee of the Scottsbluff-Gehring United Chamber of Commerce. We again would like to thank the Rural Radio Scottsbluff staff for recording this forum so you can view it, the timers, students from Gehring Public Schools for volunteering, the Chamber staff, and the Gehring Civic Center for hosting us this evening. On behalf of the Scottsbluff-Gehring United Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Committee, and for my co-chair Don Wolf, I'm Bill Boyer. Thank you for joining us, and remember, get out and vote.